Hello, everyone. Welcome to 100 Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host, Logan Landers, and today I'm looking at the SEC Media Days, doing a recap and also just what all's been going down so that way you, the people, can stay informed. If you like this video, like, comment, share, and subscribe. We go live each and every single week on Facebook and YouTube. Clips for show on Instagram at 100 Football, and of course, our podcast available anywhere you listen to podcasts, thanks to the Believe Podcast Network. So let's do a recap of day two, what all has went down at the media days, and let's go ahead and get into it. Let's start off with Mike Leach and how he kind of just did his own thing, right? They asked for opening statements, and he came out and he said, you know what, I appreciate that, Commissioner, but do you have any questions? He just went straight to it. He said before he hates opening statements. He's done it before where he just goes out there, lays everything out on the line, and then he ends up having to repeat himself. So he basically just said, you know what, I'm just going to have you, the reporters, the media out there, ask me whatever questions you may want to ask, and I can do that. He talked a lot about the NIL, about also just with Coach Saban, and he's all, the NIL is an interesting topic. We'll say, right, some coaches agree with it, some do not. Something here, right, I'm seeing here, it says, a quote here says, I think they both kind of illustrate the frustration of how things are right now, talking about the NIL. Also with, Coach Saban and whatnot. He says, not sustainable, so something's got to change. We haven't defined exactly what it is, an amateur or student athlete as opposed to a professional. So I think we need to do that. I think there is ways to do it, which I agree with. The NIL is still in its infancy, right? There's still plenty of time to finding out the details. And I agree with Mike Leach. He says that there's some things that's got to change. He also says that currently college athletes have more privileges than anybody, any other professional level. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't think it stays the same because there are responsibilities that go along with being a professional. I mean, he's got a point. And these companies, these brands are sinking money into the school, into the players. So they've just got to, I'm not saying grow up, but they've just got to act more professional, younger than a lot of people might have thought. So I think that's going to be, like I said, an ongoing topic for many, many years to come. We're going to talk about Coach Shane Beamer now, right, out there in South Carolina. Excited, right, talking about Spencer Rattler, his new quarterback. He said in a quote, people forget Spencer Rattler was the starting quarterback in Oklahoma, which a lot of people do. He had some pretty high amount of pressure replacing guys by the name of Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, and Jalen Hurts. And then what does he do in his first two conference games at Oklahoma as starting quarterback? We, not him, we lost to Kansas State at home. Then we lose to Iowa State on the road. He's replacing all these guys, had a lot of pressure going into that season, started out 0-2 in the conference, and he never flinched. The narrative I know was he got benched last year in the Texas game. He got sat down the year before, too. Then he came back in the second half, played his butt off, beat Texas in 4 overtimes, which is a great game, by the way. Go check that out. And he never lost a game as a starting quarterback again, and still hasn't as a starting quarterback. Of course, Shane Beamer said he wants more, right? They went 7-6 last year, did South Carolina. And also, like I said, he wants to be more satisfied. He wants to get a better record. He says, for us, it's continuing to build on what we did last season. No one's satisfied with 7 wins. I didn't come here to South Carolina to be 7-6 every year. We have higher expectations than that, and I love to see that. You love the confidence in the new coach to bring it on the media days and let the SEC know that South Carolina is not to be messed with. Talking about a little bit Vanderbilt now, right? Let's talk about them. With Leah, of course, he said that he was back. Let's not forget he's the new head coach. He's been there. He was the fullback back in 2002 to 2004, and he is ready to take on, like I said, the challenge, man. He's ready for it. And even though last season was a little bit rough for him, like I said, let's see, they went 2-10 overall and then 0-8 in the SEC. He says, once we reached the season, we were focused to confront our reality, and our physical, mental, technical, and tactical deficiencies were evident from the start. I want to be clear that the season was challenging on many levels, but we were not victimized by adversity. So, like I said, there's a lot going on there at Vanderbilt. Obviously, they still have a lot to work on in that program, and I think they'll get it together in just a little while. Going to Nick Saban, one of the ones you look at, right? Just talking about him, and boy, he said, talking about Alabama players, Saban said, have made some $3 million in the past season. He got a quote saying, well, I don't dislike name, image, and likeness. I'm all for the players. I want our players to do well. Our players have made over $3 million in name, image, and likeness. I'm all for the players being able to do as well as they can and use their name, image, and likeness to create value for themselves. But he also reiterated some concerns he had previously, saying, I think there's probably a couple factors that are important in that. He said, how does this impact competitive balance in college athletics? And is there transparency to maintain fairness across the board in terms of college athletics? How do we protect the players? There are more and more people that are trying to get between the player and the money, which is true. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of factors in this. I'm sure that a lot of us don't even know quite yet. So, like I said, the NIL, a lot of it was discussed here at the media days on day 2 with the coaches and whatnot. And I think that over time, we'll finally get it figured out. It is still super young. There's still a lot to go on. But I think that it'll finally get it going, and then also that the players will, get their money, and it'll be nice to see. Also, a couple more things here. I've just kind of been looking around, seeing what all some of the other coaches have said about this. I think that Billy Napier, that Mark Stoops, of course, that that Coach Kirby Smart, who just got a nice big paycheck. I think he'll be fine. And I think also Sam Pittman right there in Arkansas. There's a lot to go on. There's a lot to look at, read about, and discuss as the coming days, and keep going on with the media days. So go out there if you have the I believe it's on the SEC Network. Go check it out. If not, just type in SEC Media Days like I did. Read some recaps, and you can see more about it. But I've been your host today, Logan Landers, recapping, of course, day 2 of the SEC Media Days. Have a tremendous day, everyone, and we will talk to you again on the episode of 100